We are live.
Yo.
Flash Sports Media here with my boy A.K.O.Y.E. What's good?
Yo, Mill, what's good with you, man? Pleasure
Oh
talking
man,
to you again, man.
I'm
You already
alright,
know.
man.
It's always
I'm all
fun, my nigga. Let's go. But yeah, man. Yeah, man. We was talking backstage about Shakur, but yeah, look, it's good to be here, man. Good to be
right.
here.
We'll start with that. Shakur Stevenson stops Josh Padley in the ninth round of their bout. Um, he's been getting praise and criticism. It seemed like Core gets more criticism
Hmm.
than love
Yeah.
in the
It's
media
warranted.
and by fans.
Yeah.
You said it's warranted?
It's warranted. Yeah, I think it's
Explain.
warranted.
Go ahead.
I mean, if you are supposed to be the upper echelon of the game, you get your opportunities, right? You get your opportunities for that moment or to make your mark in those moments. And I think that, when you look at what was the dude Valdez he fought, you know what I mean? I thought that was like one of his better performances, right? But then since then, he hasn't put together a performance that really, especially against anybody that impresses me. He hasn't put together a performance that impresses me, man. Like a Padley to me, especially on 4 days' notice, a guy that didn't seem like he was like on time. His timing was off most of the fight. He didn't really have anything to offer because Shakur was comfortable enough to stand right in front of him and walk him down. He didn't he does. We all know he doesn't have crazy punching power, so I get that part of it. He does have to break guys down and beat them, but I just don't. I haven't seen a version of Shakur that I can say is worth the hype against a guy like a Gervonta Davis or even a Haney for that matter. They can show me the sparring matches and the classic sparring sessions all they want, but I haven't seen a live bout from Shakur that makes me say that guy right there. I want to see him against the upper echelon of the game, and he talks and acts like he's already there, and he's not. So when you get the criticism that says, "Hey, you're not ready for those guys," I think that's warranted because you talk as if you're in that room, and he's not in that room, in my opinion. I think athletically, when you say he's an athlete, can he move? Can he, is he always in shape? Does he come game ready? I would say yeah, but I don't see a threat. He's not a guy that can stand in front of you and just outpoint you without getting hit. He'll stay on that back foot and kind of run, if you want to say that, right? Or on his bicycle, right? So he's not a guy that can just outpoint you like a Purnell, where Purnell's not going to knock you out, right? He wasn't trying to knock you out anyway, but he can outpoint you and control you for an entire fight. And you can still say that can pose a problem to even some of the best pressure fighters out there, right? Like De La Hoya versus Purnell was classic fight. Purnell wasn't walking him down and stand in front of him. You know what I mean? But so he doesn't have a style like that where he's swimming and he's not getting wet and he can stay right in front of you and beat you, right? He also don't have punching power where he can walk you down and hurt you. So when you look at a guy like a Gervonta Davis and say, hey, can he keep up with Shakur as far as his speed and his athleticism? Yeah. Is Shakur probably the better athlete as far as speed and quickness? Yeah. But Gervonta has enough of that to stay with him, so he doesn't have enough of an advantage there. And then in the event that they have to exchange, you already know who won in the exchanges. You know what I'm saying? So when you look at a guy like a Shakur, to me, I just can't see. I can't find it, but people talk like it's there. I don't see a part of his game that is dangerous to Tank Davis at all. Like right now, I wouldn't even want to see the fight, and I'm being honest when I say that. I'm not hating. I don't think he wins the fight. And if they fight, I don't think he even tries to fight because he doesn't have any. You can't bring a knife to a gunfight, and he doesn't have anything to offer, in my opinion, when it comes to a Tank Davis that he will respect.
All right. So when you say he's not elite, I definitely disagree with that.
Okay.
Shakur Stevenson to me is the equivalent of
Let's hear it.
a basketball player that the pull-up jumper is money, right?
So you saying he's Steph Curry?
No, I'm saying no. Hear me out. No, I'm saying the pull-up jumper is money. Hesitation pull-up is money, right? To whereas the other things in his game, are they as good as that? No. But from mid to long range, Shakur is exceptional. Now, he's underrated on the inside, but as far as his offense goes, his offense at times leaves a lot to be desired. And I think because that's because his unwillingness to engage. I think if he took more if he took more chances,
right?
Then if he took more chances, he would be a more well-rounded fighter. But I feel like he's mastered the art of boxing where I'm going to win and take the least amount of chances possible. From distance, his defense is a 10. The other parts of his defense, we still don't know yet because he doesn't even put himself in risk for us to find out.
Well, if I mean, you in the gym every day, bro. If I'm out of range to hit you, so the whole purpose in defense, right, and is to be able to hit you and not get hit. But if I can't hit you because I either won't or I'm at a range where I can't, and you're at a range where you can't hit me, then I'm never in any danger in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So,
I disagree with that notion.
I don't. Go ahead.
Defense is not to get hit. Boxing is to not get hit and hit. Defense is just not to get hit. So
I mean, if the guy can't punch you because he can't get to you, I mean, he can't get anywhere near you, then you're not really engaging in it. You're not showing me defense because you got wheels. You know what I'm saying? You have to. The wheels is not just that's one component of defense, but that I don't look when I judge a defensive fighter, I don't judge him by how well he can stay so far away from you that he can't counter you. You know what I'm saying? Or some of the guys that fight inside and have supposed good defense, right? If like a Winky Wright, you can't counter if you just if you got your hands pinned to your temple, you're not counter punching. You're waiting for a guy to finish, and then you're taking your time and you're doing what you got to do. I don't even look at those guys as supreme defensive fighters. I think, and I'm not saying that Shakur doesn't have a good defense at all. So don't quote me and say that he doesn't have one. But I'm not looking at him like a guy like a Pernell. You know what I'm saying? Where that's what they, that's elite defense to me. You are even Lomo, where his pivots are like on a different level. But when you look at like a Pernell, like he's right there in the wheelhouse, in the fire, and you're not able to find him or hit him, even though he's there to be hit. You can't hit him. James Toney, he's there to be hit, but you can't find him. Boots, even he's there to be hit, but lately he's been hit. But
I'm gonna make a point to you, right?
Go ahead, hit me.
Defense is not getting hit. So however you can do it, you can do it. Now, is his all-around defense of the guys that you named, the James Toneys, the Pernell Whitakers, the Floyd Mayweathers? No, it's not. But he's mastered that one aspect. He doesn't even move as much as people accuse him of moving. He fights in a straight line, really. Half step back, like. So to me, isn't he an elite fighter? Yeah. Now, will he beat the other elite fighters? I don't know. Time will tell. But he is an elite fighter. He is. I'm not going to take that away from him. Now,
well, who gave it to him for it to be taken away from him? Like, how are you what makes him an elite fighter?
He's 3-division world champion, silver medalist at every level that he's been on.
He's accomplished. He's a very accomplished fighter.
I'm saying every level he's been on, he's been successful and one of the best fighters in the world. So to me, that's elite. I didn't say he's a Hall of Famer yet. I didn't,
from your definition, you're right. No, from your definition, I won't argue because I'm not judging him by that. I'm not going off of accomplishments or accolades. I'm going off of if I saw you against what I deemed the elite fighters at your weight. Can you deal with them? That's how I look at it that way. Because there's guys that are accomplished that I think are C or B grade fighters, but they're accomplished as hell. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not looking at accomplishments when I say elite. You know what I'm saying?
Here's the one thing about that, right?
Right.
And this is where stuff gets a little foggy. There is ability and then there's application.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
There's ability and then there's results. There's some dudes that we feel like from the eye test are better than other guys, but do they get the results that other guys get? The one thing about Shakur Stevenson, and here's the biggest issue, and this goes for Shakur and for Tank. Tank, both fighters, when you look at them, Tank looks like the most complete, right? And both pass the eye test as far as ability goes, but we don't know how good they are as of yet because we haven't seen them against the other fighters like themselves. I don't consider Ryan to the level of Dev. I don't consider Ryan to the level of Tio, Javante, or Shakur. The only guy.
You think Shakur beats Ryan?
Yeah.
Easily?
Not necessarily easily, but he beats him.
You think he beats him? Okay.
Yeah. Shakur's Shakur's going to put himself in positions where he's not going to be harmed. And I don't think Ryan has the ability to put him in a space where he's vulnerable. I believe Tank does.
You believe Haney does?
I've always believed that Haney would have been a tough fight for Shakur. Okay. No matter what anybody else believed. But I like what I saw as far as he was a bit more active in this fight. Now, do I understand that Josh Padley came off the couch? Yes, I do. Do I understand that Josh Padley was nowhere near the level of Shakur Stevenson? Yes, I do. But I also look at differences from your last fight as opposed to this one. He was more active and he did step on the gas and got him out of there. He is very underrated with going to body. He does a lot of like little sneaky shit, like little shovel hooks and little stabs to the body. Like he poke holes in
his straight shots to the body definitely pulse, but they hurt. You know what I mean? They definitely, you can see the effect.
I would love that. I agree with you in the sense I would love to see him take more chances because your body work is a lot better than what people give it credit for. But people don't even get a chance to say it because you don't put yourself in positions that you could possibly be in harm, but you could end up getting stoppages.
So there has to be a conversation for, a less broad definition of elite because outside of accomplishments, because to me you have to have some sort of it or excitement for me to look at you like it has to be some electricity. There's no electric in anything I've seen from Shakur as of late. You know what I mean? There's no electricity. You know what I'm saying? He's a great fighter. I don't think he's trash. I'm not trying to call him trash or nothing like that, but I just don't look at him as a guy that I'm excited to see or that I think is a threat or dangerous to anybody. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't pass that eye test for me when it comes to his level of the level of difficulty outside of the fact that you have to find him. But even when you find him, he's not setting traps with that. You know what I mean? So to me, I don't look at him as a guy that's he's just not a dangerous fighter to me, man. He's a good fighter, a great fighter, if you want to say that. But when I say elite, that means it's like you've done something, you do things that are stunning to me. I look at Crawford as elite. He's, what he did to Errol Spence, what he did to Brooke, like those were like exciting, memorable moments. And I like I said, I gave Shakur what he did to Valdez. That was crazy. You know what I mean? So I give him his credit when he does it. He hit that level and then he kind of like started playing it safe, in my opinion, in the game. Now, he had different reasons for it. Maybe he did break his hands. I'm not sure. A lot of people say he broke his hand. He just broke his hand again. So if that's the reason for it, because Floyd had that issue as well during his career. But before Floyd became Money Mayweather, Pretty Boy Floyd was a murderer. You know what I'm saying? He would fuck you up. Like I want to see that moment, like those Gotti Floyd type moments. You know what I'm saying? Like if Floyd was fighting like he fought Castillo the first time consistently, I would say this about Floyd. Like, you know what I mean? But he had moments where you saw him do things to guys where it's like, goddamn, I don't want to see that again. Like, to me, a guy like Padley is like Floyd versus an Angel Man Freddy. You're supposed to fuck that guy up. You know what I'm saying? And I just didn't like how Shakur took him out. And the reason I brought this up is because all of the controversy with Floyd Schofield versus Shakur was kind of crazy, right? About, how they pulled out of that fight or whatever. I don't think he should have pulled out of the fight because I think if Shakur fought Schofield the way he fought Padley, I think Schofield would have done very well. I don't think he would have done well. I don't know if he beats him, but I don't think he should have pulled out of that fight. He would have done very well in that fight because Padley shouldn't have been there in 9 rounds, in my opinion. He shouldn't still been there. You know what I mean? And if you're having that much trouble with a guy that's off the couch, 4 days off the couch, who's not even at your level, I don't think Schofield is at an elite fighter at all, but he's definitely way more dangerous and has more pop than a Padley. And I think he would have gave Shakur a lot of problems. You know what I'm saying? So if that's what you would have showed up as against a Floyd Schofield, I think Floyd Schofield would have definitely done a lot better than he even thinks, because I think they probably thought, for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe they just didn't like the way he looked in camp or whatever, but I don't buy the he got poisoned story. You know what I mean? Not me personally, but I think that's what I'm saying. Like, if I think that Floyd Schofield would have gave you like real trouble, then there shouldn't be a conversation about you versus Tank. I think Schofield would have gave him trouble. If Padley lasted 9 rounds, Schofield goes the distance for sure, probably. And I definitely think Schofield would have been a lot more dangerous in that fight than Padley showed to be, because Padley was hitting him. He just doesn't have anything. He didn't have any. He was pushing his punches. He wasn't really able to hurt him. He was hitting him, though. It wasn't like he didn't get hit. So Floyd Schofield to me is far more dangerous than a Josh Padley. And I don't know if Shakur showed up and showed me that he was even at a different speed or a different gear that Schofield couldn't have got to. I didn't see that.
We got two questions for you, right?
Go ahead.
So for me, do I agree with that Shakur, that there's another level for him to find? Yeah, there is. And I think that level is going to just come with taking risks. Now, does he find it, or does he remain comfortable in the space that he's in? I don't know. Time will tell, but he's still a young man. Fighters are constantly evolving. So we have to see if he would take that next step.
I like to contradict myself. You know what I mean?
All right, but here's the question is, then why doesn't anyone want to fight him?
Who?
If he doesn't have that it.
Shakur?
Yeah, that's the question that Tommy Renfro has for you.
Who says that no one wants to fight him? Where's that theory coming from? He was with Top Rank for a long time. You know how Top Rank is. That was a closed shop. So as of late, now he's not. But who says that no one wants to fight him? I don't know where people are ducking Shakur. Who's ducking him? The people who are at the top that he wants to fight are not fighting him, because like Rolly just said, where the money in a fight against Shakur right now? It's not an exciting fight. Nobody's excited about that. He has to have a moment where it's like, we're ready to see him against a guy like Davis. They're setting him up for those moments. Padley was a setup for that moment. If he wanted it to be like, Shakur would have went and knocked Padley head off in the first round, people would have started talking like, all right, even though we know that's Padley, you know what I'm saying? They would have still said, okay, let's see that. You know what I mean? So, he has to have that moment, like a Boots versus Roman Vila, like those type of moments where you have a moment that makes people say, all right, now we want to see you against a Crawford because of what we saw you do against. You didn't play with your food. We saw what you can do against a guy that's what we think is dangerous, or at a good enough level where, you showed that you were in a different gear and a different stratosphere. Where are those moments that, what I'm saying? He doesn't have those moments. Not as of late. That's so when people say that, when I say not elite, I'm talking about that factor. Like, look, are you exciting to watch? Are you dangerous at any moment of the fight? You know what I mean? And do you pose enough of a problem? Like, you got problems, you got problem solvers. Do you pose enough of a problem where we think that the guys at the top would all have a problem fighting you, or have a problem with you? I don't look at a fight against I don't look at it as if it's going to sell, because there's factors to fighting. You got, is it going to sell? All right. I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, maybe, because it's been enough talk about it, like Pacquiao versus Floyd. It's been enough talk about it for so long that a Davis or a Haney versus him would maybe sell. So is it going to sell? Maybe. But do I think those guys are in any danger fighting him? No. I think if he wins, he has to win going the distance against either one of those guys. And I think that they have more tools that they can bring to the game, and they pose more of a threat to him than he does to them. That's just what I think. You know what I mean? Now, can he change that? That's what it's about. Go in there and change it. Change my opinion. Make me contradict myself. But to me right now, I don't see where Shakur is ready to fight a Tank Davis or even a Haney right now. I don't think he is.
As far as the dudes that are talking about all those fighters ducking him, I agree to a point that he has been ducked. I feel like he got ducked by Williams and Zepeda. As far as the others, then we would need to have a conversation about the business of boxing. Because when we get into that conversation, then basically you had to be educated on certain things, right? Did Gervonta Davis people reach out to gauge interest in a potential fight with Shakur? They did. Now, was a contract offered or anything like that? No, but they reached out. That's not even conjecture. That's not opinion. That's a fact, right? Do I think these fights happen? Yes. Y'all fans got to stop saying ducked with everything. Everything. Oh, ducked. Just because a fight doesn't happen at a particular time does not mean it's a duck.
It just don't make business sense at the time.
There's a lot there's a lot of there's people that want to fight. There's people that wanted to fight Shakur, but it didn't make sense for him to fight them at that time. That don't mean he ducking them.
No, that's facts. Yeah, that's facts. That go both ways.
This ain't shit in the street where that guy been talking shit to you. Oh, when I catch him at McDonald's, I'm gonna fuck him up.
No, it don't work like that. It got to make sense for them to get in the ring.
Yeah. So
it got to make sense.
Yeah, like Tommy, Tommy, I don't got no horse in the race. I'm not really a Tank dude. I'm not really a Shakur dude like that. I appreciate both of them for their skill and shit like that. But I can tell you're approaching this from a fan's perspective, a fan's point of view, and I get it. But you gotta wake up.
When you look at it from a, like I said, I just look at things from a technical stance. I'm not looking at his accolades. You know what I'm saying? So when I look at it just as a matchup, when I'm breaking down what Shakur does in the ring versus what a Haney or any of those guys are going to do, Tank Davis even, I don't see how he's going to beat him. You know what I mean? I don't see how Shakur beats a Tank Davis. I don't see it. You know what I mean? I don't think he can stay away from him for 12 rounds. And that's his best bet is his boxing ability and his boxing IQ. And I don't think he has a higher IQ than a Tank Davis. I think Tank Davis has showed me that he knows how to set his traps properly. He's not just power. He's not like Wilder where it's just power. He knows how to set it up and set traps and how to lure you in, right? So it's not like you have a advantage IQ wise. It's just they just have two different styles and two different ways to apply their IQ. But he doesn't have the advantage IQ wise against a Tank Davis. You don't have the advantage athletically, and you damn sure don't have the advantage in any exchanges. So it's like, now, does that mean you flat out don't win a fight against Tank Davis? No, he can outpoint him. But I just think that Tank Davis poses too many threats for Shakur Stevenson, in my opinion. And the fact that they're both southpaws at that. You know what I'm saying? So the southpaw advantage, because a lot of people talk about defense, and I really, I talk about this all the time. Southpaw, I don't really look at Southpaw's defense as, great until I see them against either like top offensive fighters, right? Or another southpaw that really, can bang, right? Because when you don't have that angle advantage, I think that really speaks to something. Most conventional fighters, they have an old school mentality in the way they approach fighting southpaws. Shout out to Breadman, because Breadman actually, he knows what he's doing when it comes to taking a conventional fighter and fighting southpaws. And he also knows how to apply the southpaw game too, right? He knows how to teach southpaws as well. But when you look at southpaws historically, right? Even when you look at Errol Spence, right? Everybody would say Errol Spence back in the day, like, oh, he had defense. He's a southpaw, right? So those angles, if you're fighting a guy that has a good left hook, for instance, you're smothering that left hook. You took that away if he's a conventional fighter. You took it away automatically just from the angle you're standing on. And if he doesn't know how to circle to his right or fight going to his right, then he's not going to be able to apply that. He's not going to be able to use it. So you took his greatest weapon away from him without having to really do anything other than stand in your stance. You know what I'm saying? Just be a southpaw. If you're fighting a guy with a great jab and you know how to intercept his jab as a southpaw, or it's not as hard to do until you fight another southpaw. That's when I see, what your defensive level is on. And I'm not saying Shakur is not a great defensive fighter. I'm just saying I will know if he fights Tank, he doesn't have the angle advantage, and then you will know exactly what he can do. You know what I mean? And that's when I understand how well you judge distance. That's when I understand how well his defense is applied. Or fight a, or I don't know if you want to go but fight a pro grade or what, but fight another southpaw, and then I'll look at his defense and I'll say, if he's even Steven, meaning if you have to deal with a jab and a straight left hand consistently, I can say like, yo, this dude knows he got a defensive IQ that's at another level. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't just call it out because you're a southpaw or because you have not been nailed as a southpaw. I don't just say, yo, you got you're great because of that. Because I've seen that happen a lot. I've seen it where guys go through their career, you know what I mean? They don't really have to deal with a lot from another southpaw, right? And then when they're up against a southpaw or up against a guy that knows how to fight a southpaw, they suddenly look different. When you look at Bernard versus Tarver back in the day, right? Like Bernard knows how to fight southpaws very well. He goes to his right. He starts with his right hand. He fights like a southpaw. Starts with his right hand and then comes back with his left consistently. When you watched Kell Brook when he fought Errol Spence, Kell Brook knows how to fight a southpaw, and he was making Errol Spence look crazy when they fought. Even though I think he shouldn't have fought him with his face the way it was, but I think Kell Brook approached that fight very well, and it showed me something in regards to his IQ and how well he can, take apart a southpaw style. A lot of guys don't know how to fight a southpaw the right way. They keep trying to circle to their left only, because a lot of old school coaches tell you, you want to out leverage that their right foot with your left foot or whatever, and create new angles. But going to your right, when you look at Ward, Andre Ward versus Chad Dawson, when you look at Bernard versus Tarver, when you go to your right, you lead with your right hand, you have a lot more success because southpaws are not used to getting hit with left hooks or from a conventional fighter. So I just like to see different styles against a southpaw defensive fighter. I just like to see different styles against them, because when they're going up against your normal run-of-the-mill conventional fighter that starts like an ABC guy, just starts with your jab, 1, 2, 3 fighter, they're not in that much danger, because you're taking away your conventional fighter's most common weapon, which is his jab, and you take it away without having to do very much. Most of them, you know what I mean? So that's just what I want to see, bro. That's how I think of it, man. But I don't know. Like Shakur to me just didn't impress me with no Padley win. I can't make that an impressive win, man. I'm not going to try to beat him up because you put me in a position where it looked like I'm trying to like hate on him. I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying that's not an impressive win to me, bro.
All I did was cut the live on, and you started cooking. You know what I'm saying?
It just wasn't impressive. That wasn't an impressive win to me.
Bro. All right. Yeah. So I don't want to stay on Shakur too long, but Big Thump wants to know who's elite outside of Crawford.
Benavidez, Canelo's elite. I think that Bivol and Beterbiev are elite light heavyweight fighters. Usyk's an elite fighter. Tyson Fury is an elite fighter. Yeah, I would deem those guys elite. I would say, but there's guys that are good to great fighters, but I don't look at them as like, NUA is an elite fighter. You know what I'm saying? Tank is an elite fighter. Yeah, for sure. I think Boots is an elite fighter. So there's guys that are elite outside of Crawford. I'm not even like one of the Crawford, one of the biggest Crawford fans. I like Crawford, but he's an elite fighter. You know what I'm saying? So because they've had moments where they got a chance to prove that they're elite, and they did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I think that probably the disconnect between you and the people in the chat is I think they're taking elite as special.
Okay. I'm saying elite as like top of the game, pound for pound, top of the game, meaning you are a threat to anybody you in the game with, no matter who it is. Like, and if I put you up against another elite fighter, I really don't know what's gonna happen, right? I don't think Shakur is a trash fighter. I think he's a great fighter. I just don't think that he's, so great that I don't know what happens if he fights Tank Davis. I don't look at that. I don't look at it like that. I don't look at him, even though Haney's coming off of the Ryan Garcia loss, right? Even Ryan Garcia, for instance, I don't think Ryan Garcia is elite. I think he's good. I don't think he's elite.
I think Ryan Garcia is gifted. I don't think he's nowhere near elite.
Yeah, he's good. That's it. He's not great. I think Haney is good, but I still don't look at a fight against Shakur versus Haney. I don't look at it like, Haney is in so much trouble that he's gonna get swarmed or he can't deal with Shakur. That's what I'm saying. I don't look at that as a fight where it's like, I don't know what's gonna happen. You know what I mean?
This is all right. I'm gonna say this, and then we're gonna go to the other fights on the card because I don't want to harp on this too much. This is how I see the Shakur Tank fight, and I know I'm gonna get shit. I know I'm gonna get shit because of this, but here's the reality of it. I watched Shakur against power punchers. I watched Shakur against skilled power punchers. And he has the propensity to not want to engage and to play it completely safe. So I don't see Tank knocking Shakur out. But the problem is there are so many rounds like the Edwin De Los Santos fight where there was literally nothing landed.
Right.
Whoever's the draw is going to get the benefit of the doubt on those rounds. That's boxing. That's the business of boxing.
That's always going to be that.
And so if Shakur does not engage Tank, if he fights the way that he fights punchers, he's going to lose a very boring decision to Tank. And as currently constructed, if he engages Tank in a fight,
he gonna get his teeth knocked out.
So
ain't no way you go.
He'll get stopped. So there has to be a in between, like where he finds his Bruce Leroy glow, where he can be defensively responsible and be able to fight in spots to where as though he can win those rounds visibly and not have the business about. Nobody is going to give a Edwin De Los Santos round to Shakur Stevenson because Tank generates too much fucking money.
That fight in general, right? Or specifically, I mean, talks about the point I was making when I talked about Southpaws versus Southpaws. The De Los Santos fight, he didn't engage not just because De Los Santos is a puncher, but he's a southpaw, and he didn't have the angle advantage in that fight. You know what I'm saying? So that's also a reason he was on his bicycle the whole night. So I'm like, if this, and De Los Santos is not elite either. So if you were afraid to engage, you couldn't keep the distance the same way you do against conventional fighters, and you didn't want to engage a guy who we think is a good test or a good step up for you. That was his opportunity right there. Although I think Arum, because it was his last fight on his contract, Arum was trying to get him out of here with that fight, but that was his opportunity.
No, that wasn't the last fight. It was right before that. It was right after that. I'm sorry, Artem Martunian.
So either way, that was your fight to be like, that was your state. That could have been his statement fight if he would have took apart a De Los Santos like handedly. You know what I mean? Then you would have got your Tank. That everybody would have got what they're looking for already. We would know what him and Tank would look like in the ring together because they would be already ready to fight each other. Tank already said it. He's just waiting for him to him and Haney to have that statement fight so they can fight. But I don't like I said, it looks like I'm beating up on him because I'm stating the facts on it. But I challenge anybody to show me a dangerous version of Shakur. Where is it? Where has he been dangerous? You know what I mean? He's not dangerous, man. He's not dangerous. He's great at, judging distance, staying away from guys swimming. I wouldn't say swimming and without getting wet because he's not in range. He doesn't get himself in range to even get wet in the first place. You know what I'm saying? He's sticking his toe in the water. You know what I mean? So I just don't see him he is a great athlete to a point where he's afforded himself that ability to be able to fight and not, have to fight everyone toe to toe. That's cool. That's cool. I like the fact that he can do that. But when I see him against an athlete that he can't out athlete flat out, I just don't think he has anything else outside of that. So if you can match him or even be close enough to him athletically where you can stay with him, what else is he going to do to you? You know what I'm saying? What else can he do with you?
All right. Let's talk about another intriguing fight on the card. You had Madrimov.
Somebody said Jamel Herring. I give you that, and I give you Valdez. Those are two fights I give you. Like those, that was cool. I like how he fought both those fights.
I felt like, but they don't understand. They might have came in the middle. His argument is that those fights happened so long ago.
Correct.
That as Shakur's last couple performed, like that's the argument that
he's not arcing up right now. You know what I'm saying? He's flat.
I mean, I feel like he was supposed to fight Joe Cordini. He hurt his hand. He was supposed to fight William Zepeda. William Zepeda got injured. That was a duck, bro. He looked like shit against Tevin Farmer, so they pulled back on it. And then he was supposed to fight Floyd Schofield. So one of the things that
I give him credit for taking the fight against a Schofield because I was excited to see that fight. That would have been a fight if he would have took Schofield apart, or even if he did the same thing he did to Josh Padley to Schofield, I would give him more credit right now. I'll be giving him more credit. I'm not giving him the credit for Padley because it's Padley, but it's not his fault that it was Padley in the first place. But go ahead.
My thing is the issue is that Shakur is not getting a chance. He's not getting a crack at the elite. Now, if he neutralizes the elite like he neutralizes these other guys, then that's something that everybody can see. Well, damn, everybody gets the same treatment. Like, it's something about his style. But since he's not getting those opportunities, people are kind of looking at it like, you know, oh, you only, like, you're not looking impressive against these C-level fighters. But I want to get to Virgil and Madrimov because that was a fight that was intriguing. That was a fight. A lot of people had Madrimov going into it. I thought Madrimov would edge it out, even though I was rooting for Vergil Ortiz. I was rooting for Vergil Ortiz for biased reasons. But
what's your biased reason? You want him against
because of all the so-called duck talk. I want him and Boots to fight. All the people that called him a duck, I want people to watch it. I want people to see it.
Right.
I want people to see exactly what that's going to look like.
Right.
But yeah, so all of Virgil's fights from here until they fight, I'm rooting for it. But what'd you think of the fight? Because to me, this is the best version of Vergil Ortiz that I've ever seen. A patient Virgil, a calculated Virgil. He tends to throw temper tantrums in the ring when shit don't go his way. If he can't find you, but this time he stayed even killed. What was your thoughts?
I mean, I always liked Vergil Ortiz as an offensive fighter. I think I like how aggressive he is offensively, and he just looked real sharp in this fight. I think that just speaks to his training and his preparation. That's all. But the point that you made, saying that, like, you know, you're rooting for him because you want to see him against, you know, that upper echelon or against a guy like a Boots. I agree with you there. You know, so for me, it was a fight that keeps him in that conversation for sure, especially against a guy like Madrimov. So I thought he did what he's supposed to do, and that's what I'm saying. Like, he made a statement where it's like, okay, you know, now, you know, we can continue to have that conversation about you fighting the guys that are at the upper echelon, which I think Virgil is as well. So, you know, to me, he did what he's supposed to do. I think, and like I said, I can't discredit. I don't want to go back to Shakur, but I can't discredit him for not fighting Schofield because Schofield pulled out of the fight. But that was his opportunity to do the same thing, like make a statement. I think that, you know, he was set up to make a statement in this fight.
Oh man, just remember that you said that before they fight. That's all I ask. That's all I ask.
What'd he say?
He said Virgil gives Boots problems. I just said I just want him to remember it. Just remember it, because I'm going to come back and I'm going to be talking shit, right? But one of the things that frustrates me about Virgil is that he's one of those guys that hasn't really gotten that name or that fight until now, right? So him and Stanionis was supposed to. When was that? That was right when Crawford chose to face Avanesian. He petitions the WBA to fight Stanionis. Stanionis has appendicitis. And then Virgil has 2 episodes of rhabdo. How do you pronounce it? Rhabdomyosis.
I don't know.
Right? Yeah,
you got the names now,
where the muscle breaks down and filters in your kidneys, and then it basically fucks you up. All right. So then after that, he moves up to 54, and he fights Frederick Lawson, and they kind of just let Virgil punch on him, and then stop the fight. It was a bad stoppage. So then he goes into a fight with Thomas Delorme at 54 when Thomas Delorme was a career 40 and 47. He stops him in 1 round, and then he's supposed to get Tim Tszyu. That was a fight we was all looking forward to. Tim Tszyu, the cut didn't hit him.
Right.
Then he fights Sergey Boyachuk and looks like shit.
Right.
Then he was supposed to get Terrence Crawford. Crawford is on his Canelo shit. Tried to get Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian Fundora wanted to face Spence. Then they wanted to throw Boots in there, but Boots wants to unify at 47. And so now we were lucky that he got Madrimov.
Right. I mean, I mean, like I said, what's the question though? Like you're asking if Vergil Ortiz is ready for boots, or what are you saying?
No, I was saying the thing that frustrates me is until this, I never got it. We didn't get a chance to see Virgil against a Virgil opponent, a guy that we would say, okay, like that moment that you're talking about. Right. He didn't get a chance to have that moment because of bad luck.
Yeah, that's not his fault. That's not his fault, but his style. I look at his style and say, all right, he's a high octane, high offensive, high output fighter. I like that. I like that for against anybody because that poses a threat. You know what I mean? He has good pop and he's active, right? So I think that's the reason people say like they want to see him against Boots because he's an exciting fighter and so is Boots. Do I think that he has enough defense for a guy like Boots? I don't, but offensively, he's dangerous. He has I wouldn't say a puncher chance, but he's dangerous because of his output. So it would be an interesting fight. But I think that the ripple in that fight, or the thing that would take Boots to a different stratosphere, is the fact that he can pick and choose when he wants to engage versus not. I don't think Ortiz has the same ring generalship, the same ability to judge distance. He doesn't have the defense that Boots has, and obviously he doesn't switch stances. So I think Boots has a lot more bags that he can reach into if one style in particular gives him trouble. Like, so if he has trouble fighting conventionally against Ortiz, or from the inside against Ortiz, he can do something else. Ortiz is going to show up as Ortiz and do what he does. Like, he's going to come forward and throw punches. That's when he's at his best. So Boots can prepare for Ortiz in a way where he can kind of predict what he's going to have in front of him. You can't really predict what you're going to have in front of you if you're fighting a guy like Boots. So I still think Boots wins that fight. I wouldn't say easily, but I think he wins that. I favor him in that fight. You know what I mean? Heavily. But it would be an interesting fight. I still want to see it.
All right. So this is the problem that I have with the logics. Right, so the way Boots was getting buzzed and they're carrying fights,
Brooklyn boy,
all the Boots versus Bud conversations, and this is something that boxing fans do. Boxing fans try to play the triangle theory. So I could make the argument the way that Terrence Crawford got buzzed in the Mean Machine fight shows me that Boots would stop him. See how the logic doesn't make sense?
I mean,
what? Like
that makes sense.
No, what I'm saying is we've seen Terrence Crawford buzzed by smaller and fighters less gifted than Jaron Ennis.
Right.
So am I supposed to take those fights and immediately dismiss a fight with him and Jaron Ennis? Because that's what Errol Spence fans were doing. Oh, I seen you get wobbled by Mean Machine. I seen you get dropped by Mean Machine. I seen you get wobbled by Gamboa. So you can't beat Spence. Boxing doesn't work that way.
No, it don't work that way. No, it doesn't. But it does open the question. So they're not wrong for questioning that though, because when I look at, like I said, with when you watch a guy who can't punch but lands consistently against a guy who you think is elite, right? You just ask the question like, well, what happens if a tank were to hit this guy like that? You know what I mean? Or what happens if he were to, you know what I'm saying? So you do have those elements where you say, like, can this guy get through a fight without getting hit clean by one of these elite punchers, right? And whoever it is we're talking about, we have to speak specifically. But so that question does make sense, but it's not the end all to be all. You know what I mean? There's still elements to it. And also, you don't know the back end because different things happen in training. You have different training camps. You have different, nutrition plans. You have a lot of different things that happen in camp that kind of changes the way you may even take punches or the way you even defend yourself. And then let's face it, when you feel it when you're in there. If you sparring a guy, he ain't that much of a threat. You never know if you're not really that focused on your defense because you don't think the guy can hurt you either. So there is some of that goes into it too. You see guys put their hands down or be a little bit more lax against a guy that they think they already have, kind of either worn out, they either peppered him up, or they just don't feel that he got the pop to really get him out of there. So sometimes you see that. But in Boots' case, he was getting caught clean in exchanges. So at any given time, like when you go back to Zab versus Costa Zoo, any given time you get caught by a puncher in the right exchange, you can be out of here. It doesn't matter who you are. You know what I mean? So there is something to the fact that he would say himself that he doesn't feel like, he he was fighting up to his standard in those, in that fight. So
no, I'm not talking about that. I'm looking at it from the aspect of if I measure Terrence Crawford, we've seen spots where Terrence Crawford looked vulnerable. Am I supposed to look at that and say, oh, I'm stopping all conversations with him and Boots? He can't be Boots because of that? No.
Oh, no, that's crazy.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I'm saying we still got to see the fights.
Right.
Too many times we've judged fights on paper.
Right.
Like according to everybody, Jaime McGee was supposed to beat Bruno Soares. How'd that turn out? What did all the analysis say with that one? So y'all can miss me with that shit, bro. I want to see the fights. Just like with Canelo and Bud. Do I want to see Canelo versus Bud? No. Has Bud earned the right to get that crack? Yeah. The reason why I want to see Bud versus Canelo is because of biasness. I feel like certain fighters, and y'all can see where I'm alluding to, I feel like certain fighters have to jump through hoops, have to climb certain mountains that other fighters don't. Some fighters got to jump up and
so who's the fighter that's climbing mountains in this case? Like
Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford got to jump up 3 fucking weight classes.
Yeah, he wants to though. He's the one asking for it.
No, hear me out.
Go ahead.
Certain fighters have to do that in order to get a certain
payday,
a certain level of notoriety.
But that's his own fault. Well, top rank as well, but that's his own fault in the sense that he has other fights he can take. But at this stage in his career, it does make business sense to go after the most money he can get, and that's what he's going after, the money. He's not going after glory or legacy here. He's going after bread. That's why he wants to jump up to fight Canelo, because he could have stayed at 47 or 154 and fought Boots if he wanted to. Would he make that money? No, he'd have made good money. It's probably 10 versus 30 mil, 10 million versus 30 million to fight a Boots. Get what I'm saying? But that fight would have been a fight that, if he goes in, he fights a Boots, and then from there, if he were able to beat Boots or Boots beat him and already had an epic fight, have a rematch, whatever, those are legacy fights, and he does make money doing that.
I hear
he went right after money.
What I'm saying is a dude like Terrence Crawford should already be at the money. A guy that brings that kind of excitement. He should already be at a certain point where he's like. The excuse normally is, oh, fighter isn't exciting. Terrence Crawford is an exciting fighter.
He is.
Oh, the guy don't get knocked. Like all the things that you say about Shakur, you can't say about Terrence Crawford.
It's the market for Terrence Crawford, I think. First it was top rank, but then it's also, he's not I don't know if he's well traveled, but I don't see him being the type of draw that a Canelo is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, what I'm saying is, why not? It's not because of lack of excitement. I mean, there's a bunch of variables to it, right? Because Canelo really wasn't a talkative guy. It seems like when it comes to fighters in the black community, they have to do a lot more
you hit
to
something.
get. No. I was alluding to it, but I didn't want to make it.
I don't want to make it plain, but
I don't make it a racial issue. But and there's a bunch of factors to that, right? But it seems like a black fighter, number one, they have to be perfect, but number two, they have to be, a court gesture or a shit talker in order to galvanize the people.
Like, well, that says more about the culture and the community than it does about the fighter.
Wait. You know what I'm talking about it in its totality. I wasn't singling out one side. I'm just saying
that's true though. But you gotta look at it. You gotta look at it from this standpoint. Like what we like is a lot of grandstandy. We even like rap battle. Like we watching the Super Bowl to watch Kendrick talk shit about Drake. You know what I'm saying? It's like that type of shit. So we like a lot of grandstanding, egotistical type of energy, whether it's in sports or just anywhere. That's just the way our culture is designed right now, right? When you look at, let's just say Mexicans, for instance, they love boxing. And if they galvanize around it the way we used to, right? The way we used to be about a Ali or a Frazier or a Joe Louis, that's the way they are about boxing today, right? And they stay that way. Puerto Ricans the same way. You know what I mean? Even like I said, I trained some Moroccans. They the same way. When I had Anas and those guys down here, when O'Bali fought Rashid Warren, I went because we went to a movie theater in LA. I went to the movie theater to watch it was Wilder, I think it was undercard. We went to watch Wilder. I was there for Wilder. It was a bunch of Moroccans in the theater for O'Bali. And I'm like, who the fuck is O'Bali? I didn't know who he was at the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's that type of energy. We don't have we don't identify with our champions from a sense of they are great at boxing. We identify with lifestyle and the brand. And if you haven't created the brand because you don't have the bravado or that it factor that makes our people say, yeah, we want to get behind you, then you just don't go anywhere. And Terrence Crawford is too real for his own good in that way. You know what I mean?
But my entire point was that a dude like Terrence Crawford got to jump up all those weight classes in order to get the kind of payday where his style of boxing deserves. Now, there's a bunch of mitigating factors with it. One of the mitigating factors is there are a lot of elite level or really, really talented black fighters, all for one community that, hey, Bang, my man Bang's in the chat, right?
Right.
So, Bang, let's say you and your girl like to go to fights. And, no, Clip, I got you. I just can't do it from StreamYard. Next time I'm actually like going live out of YouTube, I got you. But let's say Bang want to take his girl out, right? He want to take his girl to the Boots fight. My man Bang live in Houston, so he got to fly to Boots fight, right? He got to get the hotel in AC. The tickets is going. So the plane tickets.
If you worth all that,
The plane tickets from Houston is going to cost $300 for the both of them on the low end. So we want to say between $300 and $500, right? Then we got the hotel, right? The hotel, if he wants to do the 2 nights, the hotel is going to run on a low end $100 a night, but with the resort fees, so that's going to be like between $25 and $45, right? So he can be paying $250. Then the fight tickets is going to run him bang like a good ticket. Yeah.
You say is he worth the effort?
So it's going to be an $1,000, $800 to $1,000 weekend, right? But Boots fight, well, shit. Tank fight 2 months after Boots, and then Shakur fight, and then the Daz fight.
That's actually
and then
true
Boots is back up.
Well, now you hitting something with that, because usually like I said, Canelo is like him and Benavidez are like the Mexican icons right now, right? Then you got when you have a Puerto Rican fighter, who's the Puerto Rican fighter right now that everybody
Puerto Rico right now is devoid of a star, and I feel like it's hurting boxing a little bit.
They always like used to be Trinidad and they had Camacho, like they galvanize around that one guy, you know what I'm saying? So you're right about that. It's not you don't really have a plethora of these other cultural fighters. Like even when you looked at Argentina, they had Carlos Muzon, they had Maidana and Lucas Matisse, and that's it. You know what I'm saying?
But in different eras.
But that's
black fighters, bro. I can name
when they
10,
see another one coming, they get behind it because
I can name 10 dudes. I can name 10 dudes under 30. Enzo Matias really ain't there, bro.
Not yet. No,
he not like
he's dangerous.
We talking about the Puerto Rican superstar.
Yeah, he's not
like the guys I'm talking about where fucking they got the Puerto Rican they fight at top rank, and that shit is cracking. They ain't fighting in the Hulu, they fighting in MSG.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about. Xander could be the guy.
Right.
Edgar could be the guy. Jonathan Rodriguez could be the guy. But right now there ain't no guy. But so I feel like Crawford got to jump through hoops in order to get things that I feel like his style and his accomplishments, he should already be there. And people call me a Crawford hater, but I digress.
No.
What we got?
I'll give you that.
Let's get to the meat and potatoes, man. Beterbiev versus B fucking Ball, man. Let's go.
Classic fight, man. That was nasty work. I'll give Bivol his credit because he had to stand in there and he wasn't swimming without getting wet. He was just straight exchanging with Beterbiev, and to exchange with Beterbiev, you saw his face took the show how much damage Beterbiev can dish out. So show how dangerous that was to do. But he stood in there. He was taking like half step backs the whole night. Like it seemed like his game plan was to start off, at the front door. And what I mean is like on his left foot. Like he was right at the front door on his left foot for most of the beginning of the fight, if you watch, right? But he kept his right foot real far. He had a wide stance, right? But in the middle of the fight, he switched it up. He started taking a half step back because he got Beterbiev committed to the distance. He said, all right, I know where he is. He thought he knew where he was. But when he started taking those half step backs, he was opening up opportunities for that pull counter all day, and he kept catching him with it. So I give him his credit, because to do it, to know that that's what you need to do is one thing, but to go out and execute it while consistently getting caught too is another. And so I that was a great fight. I think they're gonna do it 3 times, man. They should do it again. And I don't think that to me personally, I don't think that Benavidez should be the next fight. I think you should see them again then Benavidez, to be honest with you. I don't, because I think Benavidez kind of, I don't know, he could win against either one of those guys, right? But I think Benavidez could derail a third fight possibly, or extend it where it doesn't happen in a timely fashion. And Beterbiev being 40, I don't know how long he's gonna be in the game. So I would want to see them again before Benavidez. You know what I mean? But this is a different conversation. But Benavidez beating either one of those two, I don't know if he does anyway. You know what I'm saying? So I would want to see those two guys fight again. You know what I mean? That's what boxing is about. I like what they put out there, man. Both of them changed their game for this fight, and it showed.
I wouldn't mind seeing Benavidez come in and face Bivol. I think Beterbiev needs a break. The fact that he's 40 years old, and the fact that like he literally fought Bivol 4 months ago. So that's a quick turnaround for.
Yeah, probably do need.
I know how my legs feel.
No,
I'm in my late 30s. You know what I'm saying?
A beast though, man. He's a beast though.
He is, but like,
crazy.
He went through a lot. Like, when they asked him about like, oh, do you want a third fight with him? He was like, I didn't want the second fight. What are you talking about? I didn't want it.
I won't fight again.
But I that's where we are.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think, but I don't think that Benavidez, I always fuck his name up, but Benavidez, I don't think he can beat Bivol, and I don't think he can beat
I don't think so
either. I don't think he can beat those guys. I don't think his power carries the light heavyweight. I think 68 is his max. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think he has a chance against Bivol.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it's a good chance. He definitely has a chance. With Beterbiev, I think that those short shots that he kind of lets his opponents get, I think one of those would be. I don't think you can just mow through them, like you can just walk up and just.
I think he got a better chance against Beterbiev though, because Beterbiev has shown like you can hurt him to the body, but to get there. To beat Beterbiev, you got to be there to be hit. And so I think it's a 50-50. That's really a 50-50 fight for you. I think Beterbiev just has the advantage due to the fact that he got the pop. And Benavidez's style, his style has been like to overwhelm guys with his Gatling gun punches, but his size too. He's a monster to guys at 60 and 68. He ain't a monster at 175. Those dudes walk around 192. Like, you know what I mean?
Bang.
And they bang for real. You know
Bang, that short shit that Beterbiev lands, the shit that hurt Benavidez against Morrell, he ain't getting up for that, bro.
No, he's not. No, he's not getting up from that. That's what made me look at it like Morrell got you to the ground. Like both these guys get Morrell out of here. And I don't look at it like just because they're better than Morrell that, you got dropped against Morrell that means something. But I just don't see him being able to. Like I looked at what.
No, we gotta see. I'm just giving my analysis.
Oh yeah, we do gotta see that. We gotta see, but we're gonna see. You ain't got a choice. You're gonna see it anyway. But I just look at it like when you look at the sample size with Bivol versus Canelo, right? Canelo, we know Canelo can bang, but Bivol was just a little too big for him, and Bivol is a pure boxer that seemed like he was the bigger man and too big for Canelo. So I don't think it's gonna be much different when you look at Benavidez, because Bivol is the superior boxer of the two, but he's also the bigger man. You know what I mean? So I still say it, and I always say, the cliche statement: good big man beat good little man most of the time. You know what I mean? And I don't think that Benavidez in his division, like pound for pound wise, in his respective divisions, I think he's definitely more dangerous than Bivol. But going up to fight Bivol is a totally different conversation. I think he's a better fighter than Bivol, in my opinion. I like to see him more, and I think that he poses more of a threat than Bivol to his opposition. But going up to light heavyweight to fight Bivol is a totally different conversation. Totally different conversation. So if you ask me who's better,
Bivol is Shakur, but lets his hands go.
That ain't Shakur then.
No, but I'm saying, like,
judge this is real well, but Bivol will sock the shit out you.
The half step forward, the half step back. He fights in a straight line.
Yeah.
He's just Shakur. He's Shakur that lets his hands go.
But Bivol's half steps is like it's all about pull counters.
Is that what you want to see from him? That style?
Pull counters,
where
you take the
half step back, wah. Like that.
Yeah. He got like he's a cumulative puncher. Like you can't have a low output and not hit hard. You can't do that, in my opinion. Like you gotta, if you're an accumulative puncher and you want to be dangerous, you gotta set traps and put yourself in a position where you can either punch in between guys' shots and get, and give more than you're getting while doing that, or you got to be a guy that's like, you know what I'm saying, like that can get a guy out of here with one shot. He can't.
There you go. I hear you, right?
Go ahead.
But I can definitely say this as far as like temperament goes. Ain't nobody getting off the couch. Ain't no Josh Padley's getting off the couch and going 9 rounds with Bivol.
No.
So
Josh Padley ain't going 9 rounds with a Haney.
Yeah, while Shakur was definitely more active in this particular fight, he could have stepped on the gas. Shakur is just more, he's more careful than anything. He always believes that a person has more than what meets the eye. And he's not going to take that risk. He's not going to put himself in jeopardy.
No. That's where greatness is found, though. And when you put yourself in jeopardy, that's where that's to me where you become elite. You gotta put yourself not purposely in harm's way, but you gotta at least be in it or fight somebody that can put you in it themselves or impose their will on you. You know what I mean? When I watched De La Hoya fight A.K.O.Y.E, right? He was crying before the fight. You know what I mean? He fighting a guy that's dangerous as hell, and he had to put himself in harm's way in that fight to win it. You know what I mean? When Maimedov hit the scene against Victor Ortiz. Ortiz was cracking the shit out of him. Maimedov only became Maimedov because of what he did in that fight. He stayed poised and he stopped him. You know what I mean? Those are moments that give you, either, I wouldn't say Maimedov is great, so I don't want to say greatness, but those are moments of greatness. You know what I'm saying? So Shakur hasn't had to reach down or hasn't chosen to reach down or dig down and give you that. You know what I mean? Can he? Maybe he can, but the fighters that can pull that out of him, he hasn't put himself in a position to even be in front of those guys, in my opinion, because he hasn't given the fans a reason to just lord over this fight. You know what I mean? Lord over those fights. So when we go back to the Shakur conversation, he is his own worst enemy. It's not his opponents, is him. He's his own worst enemy, because if he is that good at, then you gotta show it, to the fans so that they demand that you be showcased. They're not demanding it because you're not showing it. You know what I mean? And if you got it, show it. This is the show me business. You've got that, show it. That's what you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Especially against so-called lesser opponents. You can't say I'm so defensively sound and so cautious that I don't even try because these guys might have something for me. You know what I mean? If you're so much better than these guys, then show me. You know what I mean? Go out there. Like Boots is doing, like, you know what I'm saying, Michael Jackson moves against Roman Villa, who just had beat the shit out of Ellis, right before that. You know what I'm saying? He's doing it against guys that we like, yo, this might not be an upper echelon guy, but this is a dangerous guy that he's in front of, and he playing with his food. and whooping his ass at the same time. You know what I mean? So show me, and then people will want to put you up there.
Yeah, what Tank don't understand, I'm talking about his final level though. I'm talking about the best possible version of Shakur Stevenson. You're talking about the one that we getting. He's still a young man. I'm saying that I feel like the evolved version of Shakur Stevenson is somebody that lets his hands go like Bivol. Still the same style, but like that. Where when he's stepping forward, instead of that 1-2, it's 3s and 4s. That's what I'm saying. Hey Mark, I don't think it's there yet, Mark. And the reason why I don't think it's there yet is you still got people criticizing every performance that Shakur has. I think it'll be there when Shakur gives a performance where everybody's like a great time would have been after Valdez or after Herring. Like if those performances occurred now, then I think the world would be like, yo, Tank, you got a fucking problem with your hands. But a lot of people believe, like the general consensus, and mind you, I still think the fight is going to happen and should happen. I just don't think that Josh Padley, after that performance, is now. I think what he does to Williams Zepeda is going to do it. I think he's going to carve Williams Zepeda up. I think Williams Zepeda is going to force Shakur to unlock something that I think is there.
I agree with ETC. He said truth be told, Shakur needed that Schofield fight to happen to get Tank. I think if he'd have done the exact same thing he did to
he was definitely going to stop. He was definitely going to stop Schofield. You were saying it was going to distance. He was going to carve.
I don't think so, bro.
He was going to carve him up, yo.
No, man, I ain't giving him that. I don't know about carving him up because like I said, Schofield is not a he don't got the highest boxing IQ. Like I said, and I actually had to like evaluate him before he got with Golden Boy for Rick Ross, and then Rick Ross was about to sign him. So I got a good look at him. I don't think he's like the greatest fighter. I just know he's aggressive and he is coming to fight. I don't think that Padley is on Schofield's level. So if he done the exact same thing to Schofield, and I'm not trying to put Schofield up when I say that. It's just Schofield's a guy he's a perfect fight for him. He's seemingly dangerous enough for you if you were able to knock him out the way he did Padley or stop him in 9 rounds the way he did that. He's dangerous enough for you to give him all the credit in the world for doing so. And I look at Staniotis the same way. I don't think that Staniotis is gonna be able to beat Boots or even I don't think he's a serious threat to Boots because Boots can choose when he wants to fight on the inside or not. And Staniotis' best claim to fame right now is his body shots and his body work. He's slow to the head. He's not quick enough, but he also don't got quick feet. So, but it's a name and a style that's on paper dangerous enough so that when Boots goes in there and dismantles him, you say, all right, we want to see you against the upper echelon guys. You know what I mean? That's his opportunity. That was Floyd Schofield for Shakur.
Hey, this is from my man Mark, right? Mark, you're approaching this from a boxing purist perspective. They do not give a flying fuck about what boxing purists or hardcore boxing fans want to see. They don't care. Tank versus Shakur will occur when the boxing casual, that's the fight that overwhelming, like there's like an overwhelming amount of support for that fight. And for that to occur, Shakur needs a performance where the casual boxing fan feel like he's a threat to Gervonta Davis. And because of the last couple performances and because of how he's perceived by people, I don't think casuals believe that he can beat Tank. Casuals don't know shit about boxing, don't know shit about the art form. Nothing. And I don't think they believe right now. Could he beat Tank? Yeah, he could. There's a whole bunch of things that he has to do to win that fight. Will he? We don't know. We got to find out.
I don't think he could beat Tank. I don't. Personally, I don't think he could beat Tank. And I don't think it's going to be a close fight either. I don't think he can beat Tank. And I haven't seen him do anything that make me say Tank better watch out for what.
Yo, but my man said, Kilo, think about what had happened right before that, though. Bud stopped Avanesian, one punch. Bud had stopped everybody at 147 pounds. Earl came off the car crash, beat Danny decisively, then put belt to ass to Ugas. So in everybody's mind, in the casual's mind, the last thing you think about is Bud leaving fucking Avanesian like this. And fucking Ugas' eye looking like Mitch Blood Green. Like, that's the last thing that you saw.
Yeah. I mean, to make the comparison, they both have resumes though that they've had their moments, even if they didn't have their moments, even if their moments were fewer and further between, which I don't think so. But they both had their moments. Bud has had several of them, and Spence as well, leading up to it. So, and even after the car accident, people had all those questions about Spence. And like you said, when he went out there and fought Ugas, even though I don't think Ugas, I think Ugas is one of those guys that I'm talking about, like Schofield for Shakur. Ugas was the fight that it was a statement fight where him beating Ugas put people on notice because it was post car accident, you know what I mean? So him beating Ugas the way he did said, okay, well, he still got something left for us to watch him against a Crawford. So that was Schofield was Shakur's moment for that, you know what I mean? But like I said, we ain't got to beat a dead horse on it because we can't do nothing about it now. Schofield didn't fight him. But
what Steve Harvey do? Steve Harvey was like this when you said Mitch Green's eye took over there. Ugas' eye was like this.
Yeah, he was looking crazy. He was looking crazy. But yeah, Ugas couldn't do nothing with him. You know what I mean? He couldn't do nothing with him. He couldn't hurt him because he was hitting him clean. Still couldn't hurt him.
Mark, what about Tank says that he's gonna go over there and fight over a turkey? Yeah, I want to point something out to y'all, right? Do you think any fighter that had any apprehension about going over to Saudi is more apprehensive now after watching that video of Turkey look at the scorecards and then say something to Shiraz corner? So you think that Tank is going to go over there now?
No.
You think Tank is going to do a fight with Turkey after watching that? No. That just reaffirmed everything that Tank was saying.
Yeah. That's 100.
You already know he's already temperamental, right? And he already was looking at Turkey with the side eye. You don't think that he's going to use that as a point of never fighting on his card? Because there already was a I ain't gonna say a little bit bad blood between the two, but some back and forth. So in Tank's mind, you already gonna fuck him because that's what he said in the interview.
Right.
So now you saw where one of his guys were fighting, and he did that. So Tank is definitely going to use that as a point of not fighting on his cards, whether justified or whether unjustified.
That's justified.
He's going to use it.
That's justified. And then it's rich. It's rich people playing rich people games too, because like he got Turkey in their game. They got enough bread to force certain fighters to fight each other, right, based off of the draw. But we already know we playing in your world, right? Riad season. But to go and let us see you do that was just like too much icing on the cake. It's like that's just bad optics for real. There's no way you could even talk around that because there's no reason for you to be speaking to a judge about shit. You know what I mean? During a live match. So that's I wouldn't go over there either. I wouldn't go over there unless unless it's a bag and you're gonna knock the shit out of whoever you're fighting.
Tego, you're operating from a certain space. I understand you may like Shakur, you may not like Shakur, me like Tank. I'm just giving it to you from a neutral space. Floyd was referencing the unofficial scorecards. Turkey looked at the official scorecards.
Right.
Two completely different things. They are going to use that to not go over there, bro.
Right.
You talking about somebody that doesn't necessarily have to. He sells where he's at. And I'm not even sure if Turkey even actually knows like that was taboo. He may not like know all the intricacies of boxing.
No, you're giving him too much. You giving him
I don't know.
Too much of a defense on that one. Like he not retarded. You gotta give him more credit than that. He not.
No, I'm saying that he may not know all the rules and regulations.
He don't care to know. Like that
wait. Do I agree with the notion that he may not give a fuck? Yeah, I agree with that. He may not give a fuck, but I'm not sure that he knows though. Even if he knew, would he care? No.
I'm just gonna go off the fact that, like, you know, you're a businessman that can put together events the way you put them together. That's a guy that pays that's a person that pays attention to detail. So I can't say that a person that pays that much attention to detail forgets the main detail, which is the rules of the actual event that he's throwing. I don't think he's that that slow on what's going on. So I think he knows exactly what he's doing. But at the end of the day, again, it's a business and you want to control outcomes or control perception as well. So, you know, he did it. It's just that's just how it goes. Like, now maybe he don't know the tricks. That's probably where you right. He's not seasoned as some of these other promoters where he know to get that conversation in before the fight even happens in the first place. So you ain't got to do it live. You get what I'm saying? So you know, because we know he's not the only one to do it. We're not gonna act like he's the only one to fix it.
Or make sure the camera's not on you when you have the conversation.
So I think he don't have those type of skills where you know Top Rank and you know, even when De La Hoya was fighting, you remember De La Hoya versus Pernell Whitaker. Man, Pernell Whitaker won that fight in my opinion, but you know, you had to kill De La Hoya to beat him because everybody knew he was the draw. He was carrying boxing for so long, you know what I mean? So they weren't trying to see him lose, you know what I mean? So it's the same thing. I think when you have promoters that pull those type of games, they're better at it because they've been doing it longer. I think he's just inexperienced at that part of the game, but he know what he's doing. He's doing what everybody else doing, you know what I mean? He's just doing it more obvious than they are because he's a rookie.
And because he won't face any
backlash. What you gonna do?
I'm the dude funding all this shit. Like, what you gonna do to me?
What you gonna do? You gonna fire him? What you gonna do?
What Drake say? I'm the hit maker y'all depend on.
And you're not gonna not watch because the matches that he make. You know, you're not gonna not watch it.
He's making fucking great fights. Like, yo, Joshua Buatsi versus Callum Smith is the fight I never knew I needed. But I needed it. I love that fucking fight, yo.
But there's a flip side to there's a flip side to Turkey. Turkey got a negative side to Riad season, and I think the what's the dude name that beat Anderson that fought?
Okay, all right. So that was gonna be my next topic, but Martin Bakole versus Joseph Parker.
So now, would that be a good fight? If both of those guys had a full training camp,
great fight.
It would be a different fight and it'd be a good fight. But on the box rec, he has Bakole as a second round TKO on his record now.
He does.
You really have Bakole as a second round TKO on your record because that what we all know that wasn't Bakole. You coming off 2 days notice. They even said the ring announcer or one of the commentators said he just flew in the same day or the day before or something. You know what I mean? So I'm like, if you came in on 2 days notice and we know you wasn't in training camp, your timing is off and basically your punch resistance is off. You're not really fighting, you know, you're fighting for a bag, but you're not really fighting the same guy. Parker wasn't fighting the same Bakole that fought Anderson. You know what I mean? But he's going to have that notch on his belt as if he did. You know what I mean? So that's the asterisk that you got to put behind Riad season because of the fact that you're fighting guys in some cases who are just jumping out there because they know they're going to get a bigger bag to fight on that card, so they're going to take it anyway. But that don't mean they prepared to take it. You know what I mean,
here's the pluses and the minuses of Riad season. Is Turki Al-Ashiki making all the guys that led their bad blood get in between making the best possible fight at the best possible time? Yes. is Turkey Al-Ashiki giving guys like Martin McCauley and Josh Padley opportunities to change their lives and change their careers. Josh Padley doesn't have to go back to being a fucking electrician. He can focus on boxing full time now. Right. And that's because of Turkey Al-Ashiki and fucking Riad season.
That's big.
So
that's big.
From that standpoint, salute to him. Yeah. But for every plus, there's a minus. The minus is that you are going to be seeing guys take a lot of wear and tear with these fights.
How so?
How so?
Why you say a lot of wear and tear? Like,
all right, so Turkey Al-Ashiki got like your next 3 or 4 fights already planned out.
Oh yeah.
It could be a situation where you fighting, all right. So you fighting Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, then Teofimo Lopez, and it's all
as opposed to sitting on the shelf like Pat. Go ahead.
Wait, all within like a couple months of each other. Now, because he's not seasoned, he doesn't understand the long-term effects of like fighting top level opposition and the wear and tear it can put on your fighter. So he's thinking of right now as opposed to where Bob Arum is thinking about Jared Anderson's long-term career, because I'm trying to build you into a star.
Well, they're trying to build you into a bag where, but there's something to say for both sides, and there's balance. Balance is the key to both to the argument. But there's something to say on both sides, because when you look at it like from your standpoint, where you're saying like, all right, he burning guys out because he having fighting too much. We always talk about the old school fighters who used to fight all the time, right? How this new school era, or this new era, they don't fight enough. You know what I mean? They don't fight often enough. But now, the argument is they might be fighting too much. You know what I'm saying? But that's a modern perspective on the sport. You know what I mean? But back in the day, you used to fight far more. So I think.
But I'm gonna counteract that though. You didn't fight fucking. You didn't fight Stanley Sad or Willie Pep.
Yeah, back
all in a row.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
that's true.
Like, you stayed active, you stayed consistent, but it wasn't always murderer's row. I want to get to this $5 super chat from my man Faze. Not just the Bivol was the commentator's favorite, the media's favorite, and Turk's guy. I feel like Beterbiev. I don't agree with that. Beterbiev, like, he fucks with Beterbiev too. He fucks with Beterbiev too.
I can't say it was a setup. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you like Bivol or Beterbiev more. You know what I mean? It sounds like from the question or from the statement. But I think that Bivol actually won the fight. You know what I mean? He won this fight. The first fight could have went either way as well. They match up very well against each other. I don't think it's tilted in anyone's favor because I think Bivol did a little bit more in this fight. He risked a little bit more, and because of that, he got a little bit more than he did the last fight, which is he edged it out and won it. You know what I mean? Last fight, he didn't do enough, and he had spots where he could have turned up, but he was respecting Beterbiev a little bit too much in moments. So I don't think it had anything to do with a fix. I think, Bivol just went out and took it this time versus the first time where he kind of let it coast. You know what I mean? When you think of Canelo versus Triple G the first time, where he kind of fought like Floyd off the back foot, shoulder rolls and a lot of defense, and everybody said, oh, he lost. Everybody thought he lost that fight. Next fight he comes out, he just took it to him. You know what I mean? The second fight. I think that's more so what Bivol did in this fight. He just decided, I'm gonna turn it up in those spots where I thought, I was safe, or I thought I was, clearly catching shots on the glove. I'm going exchange now. And he did that. And his face showed it. He paid for it, but he won as well.
Hey, Dave, but going back to that situation with Martin McCauley, I would rather them dudes get it and then be burnt out.
Yeah.
To end up burned out later and not get it.
No, I'm 100%.
So I agree in that aspect.
Yeah, and what you were saying, like the other side of the analogy is like you were saying, like they getting burnt out because they fighting too often. But then you had Floyd and Pacquiao that happened probably 5-6 years later than it should have. You know what I'm saying? Some of those fights never happened because they never build up and materialize into anything, or guys in their career prior to even getting to that level. You know what I'm saying? Where they can fight. So forcing those guys to fight while they still at their prime when they shouldn't be. We even say like, oh, they shouldn't be fighting right now. Why? Because they're not a draw yet, right? But he's creating an atmosphere where his
that shit doesn't matter.
Is the draw.
Right.
You're gonna get the money anyway. So now that excuse is off the table. Now that y'all at your primes, rumble. You know what I mean?
So Mark, if Mazuma, you watching, you're right and I'm right. Because of Turkey, that doesn't matter because everybody's getting paid, and who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
because everybody's
not fighting because they need to build the bag up, but he giving you the bag.
Two, by him doing that, reaffirmed what Gervonta Davis was worried about. So yeah, I feel like we're both right in this situation.
I think Tank is a unique situation only because Tank and Canelo don't need Riad season. That's why they can say that. So that's why Tank has his point. If Tank needed it, he would have to fight on it, but he just doesn't need it because he can make 30 million without it. So why would he? You know, it wouldn't make any sense. Even if he's gonna get a crazy payday, he like, why risk my health or legacy to go into a fight that might not be in my favor just because I'm going to get a bag when I'm gonna get a bag anyway. I might not get 100 million, but I'm gonna get 30 every time I step out there. You know what I'm saying? So why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he just stay, you know, as a free agent and do his own thing? I think he's just smart business wise, and I think that's more, behind the scenes is more so business. But he's not going to say that when they ask. When he stick a camera in his face, he's going to say what he need to say to make it sound good. But the reality is he doesn't need Riad season. Neither does Canelo. You know what I mean? Neither did De La Hoya. If De La Hoya was still in the game right now, or Floyd, they don't need to fight on anybody's in anybody's world. They are their own, you know, brand. You know what I'm saying? So they don't need it. Now, would it be a great merger or joint venture if they did it? Yeah, but he don't need to do it. You know what I mean? He don't need to do it.
Yeah, when you draw money and you have a bunch of people, a bunch of different entities, like Turkey Al-Ashiki has access to a bunch of money, a bunch of Saudi money, like the rulers of Saudi. And now, what is it? The council of sheiks. He has access to a lot of their money. But there are other entities that got a whole bunch of money. And then when you draw like a Canelo, like a Floyd, like a Tank, there are going to be a bunch of different sects that are willing to do business
to pay you. Yeah, that makes sense.
FaZe, who do you like? How did you score the fight? We got 5 minutes left in the show. SP was good.
You said, how did he score the fight? Or are you asking me how I scored the fight?
No, I'm asking FaZe.
FaZe. All right. He said, Bang said Devin Haney played the free agency game better than anybody. That's a fact. Yeah, that's a fact. I like how his dad moved.
That's been a free agent damn near his whole fucking career.
Yeah, but to do that, see, that's hard to do because most fighters, like you got fighters that need a paycheck, they need some money, you know what I mean? So they have to take a lot of fights where they B-side consistently. Devin Haney just was in a situation where his pop, you know, because he was a hustler, who knows, but he had enough bread to take him to Mexico. I took fighters to Mexico to consistently do that out of your pocket. You know what I mean? You paying for a side.
Break down how much that'll run you, so fans can get an idea of how much Bill invested in Dev.
Every fight average. I mean, they also on the West Coast though, so it's different for me than it is for them. I gotta fly, you know what I mean, and travel. So they right across. They could just, you know, drive down to San Diego and go across to Juarez or to Tijuana, and they cool. You know what I mean? But the flights itself and the fights themselves, depending on your record, you paying anywhere from $3 to $10K per fight. It goes up as you get better. So the more consistent you are in Mexico, and he fought a lot in Mexico, the more money it costs you. Unless you got a deal like shout out to Helga, but if you got a deal with a promoter down there, you could probably work some deals out. But you're pretty much paying, you know, for your opponents. You're paying for the entire match itself. So $3K on average, especially when you're starting out, you're paying $3K total. What that means with travel, hotel, and the fight itself, because it costs like $800 to probably up to $13 now. If you like 0-0, you know what I mean, 1-0 up to like 10-0, I think you're paying like I said, like anywhere from $800 depending on the opponent's record. If you want a shit can that really don't have a good record, paying like $800, $1,300. If you want to stiffen the competition and kind of bring your guy up some, you paying for that. You know what I mean? So you're paying $2,000, $3,000, and you can kind of get it how you want it too. So you can say, listen, I want a guy that's that doesn't punch very well, but very tough, and I want to give my guy rounds because he needs rounds. You can kind of pick and choose how you do that. And people not saying that, guys don't say that, but that's good for you if you want to control or kind of test your fighter in multiple ways. But to be able to do that yourself cost you some money. So every fighter can't take that route, because every fighter, most of these guys need a check. They're not giving out checks to fight you. They're paying you to go to Mexico. You're essentially paying guys to fight you yourself. You're paying. So without major backing, without a major promoter backing you, most guys don't got the bankroll to do it. So it don't happen. You know what I mean? So you see a lot of guys that take fights that they shouldn't take early on, or take more damage than they should early on because they have to. And if you're not ready for those moments, like it ain't that many Bernard Hopkins in the world that's taking out guys on 2 weeks notice and just going in there and washing them. You know what I'm saying? So for those guys that can be B-side warriors, shout out to Bread, man, because I think he takes guys, and I don't want to say they are B-side guys. Like, he take guys that are not A-star fighters or blue chip prospects.
Breadman has the A-level B-side guys.
Yeah, well, he takes A-level B-side guys, but he takes guys that are not blue chip prospects, and his skill set, he gives them a game plan that allows them to go and take those types of fights and win them. You know what I mean? Shout out to Kyron Davis against Garcia. That was crazy to me. You know what I mean? So those types of guys, though, are rare. Those types of trainers are rare. Those types of fighters are rare. So most fighters have to take, they have to take fights for those checks. But with doing so, they take more risk than they should early on because they don't have that backing. But then, their record will say, hey, they're not at a certain level because of, a loss here or there. And that's why we got to get out of that mindset, because some of these guys are fighting guys that they shouldn't fight early on. We talked about that against like Torch and Noble fighting this early. You know what I'm saying? Those types of fights, they're fighting right now, and they could make a bag later if they'd have fought later. If somebody was protecting both of their records, they would have fought later in their career. You know what I mean? But you'll see a guy that got 2 losses like Torch now, and they're like, oh, well, he not this or that, but he probably shouldn't have fought Jabril this early, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? There's a lot of that going on.
Kyron Davis fought David Benavidez 2 weeks notice.
There you go.
Saved the show. Kyron Davis is an elite level B-side guy. He wouldn't be a B-side guy if he didn't have to take tough fights early in his career.
There you go.
If he had somebody carefully bringing him up, then that wouldn't be the case. But now he's in a position.
Now he
can afford a certain opportunity. Yeah, now he's fighting in the IBF limit. He had to do it the hard way. So we about to head out. I don't want to hold my man. We at midnight. Old man, YSM, Clip, or Bang, Julian Williams versus Tellez. I'm going to always be biased and say my Philly dudes, but Tellez is not a walk in the park. J-Rock is going to have to fight. He's going to have to put on a performance in order to be successful. And we've all seen him do it against a fighter that's better than Tellez. So,
shout out to J-Rock. J-Rock actually started me in the game, so I messed with them. We was in their camp for the Hurd fight, right before the Hurd fight. So, shout out to J-Rock, man. Hope he win this fight.
Yeah, they don't even. All right, so my man A.K.O.Y.E went from trainer to promoter. So now, he's a promoter. So he done crossed over to the other side.
You know what it is, man. You know me for a minute. Like we like brothers, but I started off wanting to train, but I like money. So it's like, okay, my coach, shout out to Sharav, he just passed away in April. It was like, all right, I watched him, sit every day in the gym. You know what I mean? He wasn't really, he already had money, but he wasn't making money from, dedicating himself to the sport. So I said, in order to be able to just sit down and train, I got to do like he did. I got to build up my bag and then still, then I could sit down in the gym all day and not worry about, whether or not, and not be chasing a dollar and not have commission breath, so to speak. Right. So I said, okay, just being a trainer by itself, plus having the tab of having to take my fighters to Mexico consistently, I see what that cost me. So I said, I need the money first, right? Then I was like, all right, I'm gonna manage. Guys like my business acumen, so they wanted me to manage them. But that was costing me money. They wanted me to sit there and give them 30, 40K just to train each year. I'm like, that costs you some money, right? So I might make six figures, but I ain't got six figures to give away for you to to train, right? So I said, well, what do I do? And you already know I came to you. I said there, I said, look, man, I'm about to start this idea, you know what I mean? And Draco Boxing came out of that, but promoting just was the natural progression. I want to be in boxing, I want to have control, and I want to be able to move fighters and help the guys that are in my stable, but I also need to make money to be able to, stake my claim in the game. So that's why I started promoting. It wasn't like I wanted to do, I don't want to be a promoter, to be honest with you. I didn't want to be a promoter. I want to be a trainer, but to be able to control your destiny, I feel like, money is the root. So, I mean, I always had a good business acumen. So I said, let me just go after it. And that's what I did. But it wasn't because that was the aim. You know what I mean?
All right, tell them the last two shows that you promoted.
Did the Gillian Wallow knockout party December 20th. That was pandemonium. That was fun though. Shout out to Gillian Wallow. And I did the Bravehearts knocking out violence fight. That was my inaugural event in August 24th. Gillian Wallow actually did the commentary for that too, the commentary and ring announcer for that. So shout out to those guys. They definitely looked out for me with that. But jumping in the game on that level or doing it that way, like it cost me a grip. Like I said, it cost me six figures to throw it. You know what I mean? That was $100K fight. But at the same time, I feel like that was my college tuition. You know what I'm saying? I learned a lot more than I would have if I would have just stuck my toe in. You know what I mean? Because I jumped in on the level. The fans had a good time. I had to. It was baptism by fire. So now I know how to produce a fight and constantly make a profit. Like if I throw whatever fights I throw from here on out, I got a method because of that. But that came because I jumped in the pool at the deep end. You know what I mean? So now, like I said, I ain't want to be a promoter, but now, I know I'm going to be around a while due to the fact that, once I get into something, you know how I am. Like I'm a dog on a bone, bro. I ain't going away. You know what I mean?
Yo, all right. So I got a story for y'all, right?
Go ahead.
I got a story for y'all. So I filled out credentials to go to Sergey Devenchenko versus Daniel Jacobs, right? And
man, that's crazy.
I was just like really getting started in this business, right?
Yeah.
I'd done a couple events. So my uncle passes, and
Shout out to Mick.
My uncle Mick passes, and I didn't really feel like working or watching any boxing. So this is one of the guys that actually like taught me about boxing. I'm not originally a boxing guy. I'm a basketball dude.
Yeah, he a basketball guy, but he a fighter though. Yeah, you ain't tell him about that. You ain't tell him about that. Yo, Mill used to be in the bar. We used to work in the bars, his pots bars together, man. Mill used to be in the bar rumbling dudes over like Kobe and LeBron arguments, man. He'll punch you right in your mouth, man. So people don't think that about you because you nice now, man. But Mill run right up in your
Here's the crazy thing. They assume that I got into an argument with a trainer.
Yeah.
And they assume that me snapping out on the trainer was me acting for YouTube.
No.
But anybody that knows me knows that was
honestly, yo, you changed. Like Mill real nice now. This nice Mill. Like Mill will run up in your mouth, man. Because you get mad off a boxing argument. He'll run right up in your shit, man. I done seen Mill in a couple rumbles, man. So even down the Badlands, like Mill will run right up in your shit. But people don't think that about you because they see you holding the camera. They try to they think that you like, on the YouTube tip, like, nah, Mill will sock the shit out you. But that night, man, like I said, I'm grateful to you, like forever grateful to you. You know what I mean? Because like I said, I said I wanted to get into.
Wait. Let me transition into it so you can give your side. So
tee it up.
My old head Mac and my man D is the ones that taught me all about boxing. And so I hit up D and I'm like, yo, I need you to go to this event for me because I'm afraid that if I pull out, then they're going to stop giving me credentials. So I got to switch. I got to switch in his name. He goes up and go ahead.
So we go. It was what was it? It was Danny Jacobs and what was it?
Sergey Deverenchenko. So was it at the Barclay or was it at Madison Square?
It was at Madison Square Garden. I think it was the last fight HBO did too. So that was part of history too. It was the last fight HBO did, I believe, or at least one of the last. And I was in the press box. They set me next to this boy, and I had, I had this jacket that these Pink Lips made. Right, it was just a crazy jacket, and this bull sat next to me had like a crazy peacock ass jacket on. I don't know what it was, but he was a Moroccan bull. This guy named Maj, right? So we sat there talking, and at the time I was trying to get into training, more fighters. I had one guy I was training, but I was like, I want to train more fighters. I'm sitting next to the boy. He's just like, man, I got a bunch of Moroccan Olympian level fighters, and I want to bring them to the States. And I need a trainer. I need a coach. I said, you talking to one? So we busted up, talk, and just so happened he came back to the States. Maj had came back to the States probably like 2 months later, and he had hit me up, right? He was in San Francisco. This is how crazy that is, right? Number one, I wouldn't have been there had Mick not passed away, right? So like I said, shout out to Mick. Rest in peace, Mick. But beyond that, when Maj came back, I don't think I ever told you this. When he came back, he was in San Fran. He called me. I'm in San Fran at the time, right? Neither one of us was planning that. He called me and was like, yo, I'm in the States. I said, where you at? He said, I'm in San Francisco. I said, yo, you ain't in San Fran, bro. He said, yes, I am. You know what I mean? Basically, I'm like, no fucking way. Told me where he was at. He was 13 minutes away from me, bro. We went and sat in a bar. We sat in the bar, wrote on a napkin. Everything I'm telling you right now that I'm doing right now, Draco boxing, all that, all the whole plan of what I was going to do, all of it. We sat and started writing most of it out on a napkin and just agreed. He just said, look, man, in January, I'm going to bring my guys to the States and, I'm going to give them to you. You do what you got to do with them, train them. I took Anas around to like every gym in Philly, most of the gyms in Philly, and he wasn't just knocking guys the fuck out, right? And I told him, I said, yo, stop knocking your work out. Stop trying to kill your work because Philly is like that. You just ain't seen it yet. Like, so stop trying to knock your opponents out. And Nas real cocky. You know what I'm saying? His name is Nas Musaudi, if you guys want to look him up. But he real cocky. So
undefeated.
Undefeated. He like ranked 42 now. And his brother Nabil Musaudi is a beast. So he actually just got to do. Well, I ain't supposed to say that. I'm gonna tell you offline. Offline what Nabil doing next. But anyway. Take him around. He started knocking guys out, fucking guys up. And then we get to the last day of training camp. And I think I hit you up, right? And then I hit Ivan Robinson up. And I'm like, yo, he trashing all of the Philly fighters. He talking shit about some of the guys he was sparring and shit or whatever. So I said, I want him to honestly, because I like to like humble my fighters so that they understand like where they at. You know what I mean? So I said, listen, he need better work. So, I need to get him in the camp somewhere. I need him, against better competition. So I think, I don't remember if it was you that said call Bread or Ivan, but somebody was like, yo, hit Bread, man. I ain't know Bread at the time. It was like, hit him up. J-Rock getting ready for a fight. And he was getting ready for Herd. So we take him down to spar J-Rock. J-Rock is like walking around at that time, like 178. And Nas was at like 155, something like that, because he fight at 47. And he sparred J-Rock. He gave good work. It was good work. But when we left, I said, you still feel the same way? You still feel like Philly fighters ain't worth your time, bro? He's like, nah. He's like, he hurt me. I said, what he hurt you with? He said, he hurt me with a jab. I said, J-Rock jab. I was like, J-Rock he was sharp, you know what I mean, at that time. So I knew he was going to beat Herd. And then after that, when he beat Herd, it was just like, who get in the game and their first, crack at it is you in the camp for a fight, for a unification fight. And then the guy that you in camp with, you help him actually get to that, get that win, because that work. Like Bread kept calling us back after that because he liked the work that Nas got a real good hook off of his jab, and he kept catching J-Rock with it. So he Bread had liked the fact that he was showing J-Rock some shit that, you know, he had to work on. So he kept bringing him back. And the next trip that they came down, I think Nas tried that shit again. He was sparring guys, he was just knocking guys out. And he actually I called I think you called Bozy. It was like, hey man, let's try to get him with Boots. So Bozy and them smart though, but because they say we want to get a look at him first. So they brought him in. And rest in peace, Sam T. Sam T actually sparred him first. But Nas knocked Sam T out the ring, man. Hit him with a body shot, knocked him clean out the ring. And I think that pissed Boots off, man. Boots is like, I want him. But Bozy let like a week go by and then called us like on a Saturday, last minute, was like, yeah, bring him down. And at this time, I knew who Boots was, you know what I mean? But I didn't know his legend in regards to what he does to sparring partners. So I went in there blind, not knowing, you know. So I probably wouldn't have took Nas to fight Boots to spar, because I bought a dude down here after that, right? The boy was Cedric. He knocked him out second round. Boy retired from boxing off of a sparring session, man. So if I'd have known that that's what he do to dudes, I would have never took to him. But
wait, talk about real fast. Hey, yo, we hopping off right after this, bro. So next time, if you come on, we just gonna tell the story and then we're gonna dip. But next time if you come on, I'll bring you on, bro. But go ahead. They be thinking I'll be gassing up the boot shit, but go ahead.
Fucking people up and sparring, man. Like, not a joke. He hurt you. So I didn't know how well Nas did against Boots because like they were fighting, they were sparring 4.5 minute rounds. And they went 5 4.5 minute rounds. So I don't know how many rounds that is if you really count how much time that really is, but I know it's more than 6 rounds.
Almost 7.
Yeah, almost 6 rounds. But Nas in there, he gave as good as he was getting. Like, him and Boots was going at it. Boots was trying to hurt him because, like I said, like, it's one thing to just spar somebody and they giving you regular work. It's another thing to knock a guy out that's his friend in the gym and then come back to that gym and you're an outsider. They trying to give you their best shot. Boots wanted to hurt him. So him and Boots was going at it. Boots was trying to tire him out. That's why they did the long rounds. He was tiring him out. And in the 5th round, Nas just walked past me, get out the ring, right? He's like, you know, he got out the ring. I'm like, what? I snapped on him because if you just tell me you don't want no more work, I'm gonna just say, all right, cool, you know, we done. But you don't walk out the ring on me. I'm going, you know, I'm gonna stop it for you. So he walked out the ring after the 5th round. They wanted a 6th round. He's like, nah. I said, why? He said, he trying to hurt me, coach. He said, he trying to hurt me, coach. And he was like, and I'm not getting paid for it. But I had no remorse for Nas. I tell him this to his face. Like, I have no remorse for him because he has no remorse for anybody. Like, when he's sparring, he try to murder everything he hit. And like he got a left hook that'll clear anybody out. And he try to kill you. So if he can. So he finally met his match. Like I said, the first time when he fought J-Rock, he met his match. And when he sparred Boots, he met his match. And he realized, like, oh, Philly got that work. So he been back a couple times since then because of that. But I think that that was like my taste of blood in the game for me. Like, that got me to the point where I was like, oh, all right, I'm supposed to be here. You know what I mean? So like I said, that was a crazy story, but you know, it went from me training dudes on, like, you know, just off short notice and training my man Hawk and so on, just as a hobby, to I'm actually in the game because of that. You know what I mean? So you are the reason for that. I don't think people give you enough credit for that. You know what I mean? But you the reason for that, man. People don't know what you do behind the scenes for real, but you make a lot of shit move in this game, man. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate that.
I give niggas they flowers for real, man. So
I like whatever I do. I don't like people I just like for it to go under the radar. The people that know, if
you know, you know.
Yeah. But that I remember him retiring the dude, and
yo, I told dude, I said, yo, listen, Rick, shout out to Rick Ross, like the real Rick Ross, my man, like that's my man, right? He said, look, I got this bull, I want to see what he is. He used to send guys to me, like, ask me, like, what is he? Like, he had Floyd Schofield at one point, but Floyd got with De La Hoya. But like I said, he sent guys to me, and he said, yo, I want you to take him around Philly and see what he got, because Philly is dudes that jump off a postal truck that'll still beat your ass in Philly. So if he can get through there and you say he cool, he cool. I put him against, you remember, you set up a sparring match against him and Paul Crawl, right? I put him against Paul Crawl. Bull did all right against Paul, but Paul Paul played with his food because he liked to have fun. He just be having fun when he's sparring. Like he wasn't trying.
I told him to work with him. He just see what
he wasn't trying to kill him. So that gave him a false sense of security. And I had to go to LA. So I went to LA and I said, hey, I'm coming back. Don't put him in nothing else until I come back. I told him, I said, don't put him in no more I'm a matching. Don't put him against nobody until I come back. They called me. It was like, yo, your man went home. I said, why he go home? See, I took him to Spark Boots. I said, well, what happened? Knocked out second round, man. Done, gone, game over. Like he was 7-0. Not like he was a guy that's like 0-0. He was 7-0 and upcoming, and he gone. He done. He don't fight. While
you were away, they called me and asked me to set it up. I told them no. It's not a good idea. He was in camp too. I said, no, dog, that's not a good idea. Yo.
That was dumb as shit. Yo, I said,
not a good idea. Yo. That's not gonna go well. Yo.
I just laughed. I said, I told him not to do that. I really did tell him not to do that. So I don't got no remorse for him either. Like, yo, I ain't gonna put his name out there. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but nah, dog. Hey, bang, empty the clip. Dudes really be thinking that we be gassing. It's like, nah, I didn't brought dudes. It didn't go well, bro. That should be eating at my conscience. So
man, even the fight that we just did with Gillian Wallow, like the reason I'm with Gillian Wallow, same thing. That go back to you too. Your pop got me into the Met. You know what I mean? Shout out to Marv Love, man. Rest in peace, Marv Love. But he got me into the Met. And I threw my first fight at the Met because of your dad, man. So like I said, Mill just a humble boy. Like he too humble. I used to tell him that before he started YSO. Like, yo, you got you know this shit. Like you running shit. I was like, yo, when we go into the gyms and he be chilling, you know what I mean? He put the mic up. He's act like he ain't want to be there. I'm like, yo, your name carry weight in the city, number one. And you not no young boy that's just popping up in the game that's just trying to do no motherfucking commentary shit, bro. Throw your weight around. You know what I mean? Let niggas know who you is. He just like he a humble boy. That's just the way he is by nature. But you know what I mean? When he want to make shit move, it moves. You know what I mean? But I don't think people in boxing even know who the fuck you is, bro. And they don't know how you are. You know what I'm saying? Because you even like the way you show up now ain't the Mill that I know. You know what I'm saying? And not in a bad way. It's just like you a lot more calm and you chill. But like we was in Set It Up, we was in a strip club, nigga. We was managing strip clubs, dog. Mill is a motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? And like not even a joke. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna put too much out there because I don't know what you put out there.
We gotta name it.
Yeah, we gonna maintain a certain thing. But I've seen this motherfucker do a lot of crazy shit, you know what I mean? So the calm nigga that you see right now, you know what I mean, that came from being wild when he was, when we was coming up in that game. Because managing a bar in the Badlands with the worst of the worst, and both men and women, the worst of the worst women and the worst of the worst niggas is not easy to do. It's not easy to survive. And Milton, he done pay you for it in blood, for real. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate you.
Oh, my nigga. Appreciate you. And look up the Badlands. That's a neighborhood in Philly called Kensington.
Yeah.
But hey, Olmec. Don't even touch on that. But
yeah.
Yeah, that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he shouldn't do it either. I don't want to see that. Especially after layoff.
It's too late.
Yeah,
it's
man.
Too late.
But let's do this, Johnny. I like doing this shit, man. Let's do this shit again, man. I mean, they be cursing me out in the chats. I'll be going back and forth. They'll get to know, like, I say things that's like it's not popular, but I ain't never lying to you.
But appreciate you hopping on. Appreciate everybody that's in the chat, man. Yeah.
You already know. Yep. Yeah. See y'all. So let's do it. I mean, let's do the shit more, man. Like I like talking about. I'm just not gonna jump on and talk boxing on my own. You guys.
Let's start off once a week. I'll see you Sunday after Tank fight. Let's get it.
All right, bet. Let's tee it up. All right. Talk to y'all soon, man. Peace.
All right.